Alright mates, gather round. Ever felt a little tremor in the ground and wondered what lurks beneath? We're about to dive deep into the heart of the earth, exploring the raw power of volcanoes. Those fiery giants that remind us who's really in charge. From the molten rivers of Kilauea to the slumbering beast beneath Yellowstone, these forces of nature are as awe-inspiring as they are dangerous. So buckle up, because we're about to explore 5 of the most volatile volcanoes in the United States. The ones that have scientists watching and waiting and wondering when they might just blow. First up, we're heading to the Aloha State, where Kilauea reigns supreme. This isn't your average once-in-a-blue-moon kind of volcano. This bad boy has been erupting almost non-stop for decades. We're talking rivers of fire, fountains of lava shooting hundreds of feet into the air, a real-life fireworks show, but instead of sparks, it's molten rock. Now, Kilauea is a shield volcano, which means it's less about explosive blasts and more about steady flowing lava. Think of it like this. If other volcanoes are like Thor throwing his hammer, Kilauea is more like, well, me chilling out with a nice steady stream of mead. But don't let that fool you. This laid-back approach doesn't mean Kilauea is not dangerous. This volcano has swallowed entire neighborhoods, cut off roads, and just a few years back, in 2018, it took out over 700 homes. Talk about a bad day on the Big Island. And it's not just the lava you have to worry about. When that molten rock hits the ocean, it creates a nasty cloud of steam, acid, and tiny shards of volcanic glass. They call it lays. Not exactly what you want to be breathing in. On top of that, you've got sulfur dioxide gas spewing out, creating vague volcanic smog. Imagine a thick, choking fog that can make it hard to breathe, especially if you've got any lung issues. But here's the thing, as destructive as Kilauea can be, it's also the reason the Hawaiian Islands exist. It's all thanks to a volcanic hotspot, a place where magma rises up from deep inside the earth. And as long as that hotspot's active, Kilauea will keep on erupting, shaping and reshaping the land. The good news is, scientists are keeping a close eye on it. They use seismic monitors to listen for any rumbles that might signal an eruption. It's like having an early warning system for when the lava's about to flow. So, yeah, Kilauea is a force of nature you don't want to mess with. It's a reminder that even the most predictable volcano can throw you a curveball. Next, we're diving deep, mate, about 300 miles off the coast of Oregon and Washington, to a place where the sun doesn't shine, the domain of Axial Seamount. This isn't your typical mountain. This one's hiding under thousands of feet of water. Now, Axial Seamount might not be as famous as its land-based cousins, but don't let that fool you. This underwater volcano is a real hothead, erupting every few years with a fury that would make Poseidon himself take cover. The thing is, when a volcano erupts underwater, it's a whole different ballgame. Instead of fiery rivers of lava, you get these massive plumes of superheated water, ash, and gas blasting up from the sea floor. It's like shaking up a can of soda and popping the top, except this soda can melt your face off. Now, you might be thinking, it's underwater, who cares? But here's the thing. These underwater eruptions can cause tsunamis, disrupt shipping lanes, and mess with the delicate balance of life in the ocean. Axial Seamount is surrounded by these things called hydrothermal vents, like underwater geysers that spew out hot, mineral-rich water. And get this, there are all sorts of crazy creatures that live around these vents. Giant tube worms, blind crabs, things you wouldn't believe even if I showed you a picture. They thrive in this extreme environment, but an eruption could wipe out entire colonies in an instant. And here's the kicker. Axial Seamount is wired for sound. Scientists have all sorts of fancy instruments down there, monitoring every rumble and groan. They're like the underwater ears of the planet, listening for any signs of trouble. So, even though Axial Seamount is hidden beneath the waves, it's a powerful reminder that the Earth is full of surprises. And sometimes, the most dangerous things are the ones we can't even see. Mount Rainier, the sleeping giant looms. From the ocean depths, we journey now to the towering peaks of the Cascade Range, where Mount Rainier stands guard. This isn't just a mountain, mates, it's a 14,000-foot volcano, and it's got a temper. Sure, it's been keeping quiet for over a century, but don't let that fool you. Underneath that snowy exterior beats the heart of a fiery beast. Now, Mount Rainier is what we call a decade volcano, one of the most dangerous on the planet. And it's not just about the lava, though there's plenty of that. The real threat here is something far more sinister, lahars. Imagine a wall of mud, rock, and ice roaring down the mountainside at breakneck speed, engulfing everything in its path. See, Mount Rainier is covered in glaciers, massive rivers of ice that would make Thor's ice giants feel right at home. But if the volcano erupts, those glaciers will melt faster than ice cream in the Sahara, And that's when the lahars come in, sweeping down river valleys, wiping out towns and cities in their path. And it's not a matter of if, but when. Scientists have been tracking all sorts of activity under Mount Rainier, tremors, ground deformation, you name it. It's like the mountains whispering, I'm still here, and I haven't forgotten how to blow. The good news is people are taking it seriously. They've got evacuation plans, early warning systems, the whole shebang. But even with all that, if Mount Rainier decides to let loose, it's going to be a bad day for anyone in its path. It's a stark reminder that living with volcanoes is a bit like living next door to a grumpy dragon. You respect its power, you keep your distance, and you hope to Thor it doesn't decide to breathe fire on your house. Glacier Peak, the silent threat. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're venturing deeper into the Cascades, to a volcano that flies under the radar, but packs a punch that could knock you off your feet. Glacier Peak. Now this isn't the tallest volcano in the range, but don't let that fool you. This bad boy has a history of throwing ash and rock further than a javelin thrower on steroids. We're talking eruptions that have blanketed states hundreds of miles away. The thing about Glacier Peak is it's a bit of a silent but deadly type. It hasn't erupted in centuries, which makes it easy to forget about, but trust me, this volcano is far from extinct, and if it blows, well, let's just say it won't be pretty. We're talking massive ash plumes that could disrupt air travel for weeks, burying towns and cities under a thick blanket of volcanic debris. Imagine waking up one morning and instead of sunshine you see a sky choked with ash turning day into night. The air is thick with the smell of sulfur and a fine layer of gritty ash covers everything in sight. That's the kind of chaos Glacier Peak is capable of unleashing. Now, the good news is scientists are keeping a close eye on this sleeping giant. They've got instruments monitoring every hiccup and burp, trying to predict when it might wake up. But the truth is, volcanoes are notoriously unpredictable. So, while Glacier Peak might seem quiet now, it's a stark reminder that beneath the surface the Earth is a wild and untamed place. And sometimes, the quietest places hold the most potential for chaos. Yellowstone, the supervolcano's shadow. Alright mates, brace yourselves because we're about to confront the big kahuna, the volcano that keeps scientists up at night, Yellowstone. Now this isn't just any volcano, it's a supervolcano, a behemoth that could make every other volcano we've talked about look like a firecracker next to a stick of dynamite. We're talking eruptions so massive they could blanket entire continents in ash, plunge the world into a volcanic winter, and make history books look like fairy tales. Now I know what you're thinking, is it going to erupt anytime soon? Well, the short answer is probably not. But here's the thing about Yellowstone, it's like a giant slumbering beast. It's been quiet for a long time, but scientists have detected some restless stirring beneath the surface. Think of it like this. Imagine a giant pot of water simmering on a stove. The heat is always there, bubbling away, but every now and then a bigger bubble rises to the surface, sending a ripple across the water. That's Yellowstone, always active, always simmering, with the potential to boil over. Now I don't want to scare anyone, but this is the kind of volcano that demands our respect. It's a reminder that we live on a planet that's constantly changing, constantly evolving, and sometimes those changes can be dramatic. But here's the good news. Scientists are watching Yellowstone like a hawk. They're using cutting-edge technology to track every tremor, every gas emission, every subtle change in the landscape. It's like having a team of doctors monitoring the vital signs of a sleeping giant. So yeah, Yellowstone is a force to be reckoned with. But with vigilance, preparation, and a healthy dose of respect for the power of nature, we can live alongside this sleeping giant and marvel at the awe-inspiring forces that shape our planet. So there you have it, mates. A glimpse into the fiery heart of our planet. From the relentless lava flows of Kilauea to the slumbering giant that is Yellowstone, these volcanoes are a reminder that we live on a planet that's constantly changing, constantly evolving. They're a force of destruction, yes, but also a source of creation, shaping the land we live on, the air we breathe, the very planet we call home. The good news is we're not just standing by, watching and waiting. Scientists are working tirelessly, using cutting-edge technology to monitor these volcanoes, to understand their behavior, to predict their next move. It's like a game of chess against nature, and we're getting better at playing it all the time. So, the next time you see a picture of a volcano erupting, don't just see the destruction. See the power, the beauty, the raw energy of the Earth. And remember, we're all just along for the ride on this wild, unpredictable planet we call home.